So, hello everybody, this is Bhante Joe here, and I'm just here at a new kuti they're constructing at Bouyana with a beautiful view, and thought to record a short Dhamma talk, Dhamma Owada for the internet. So I thought that could start with a little meditation, so can lean forward a bit and arch the spine, and look about 3 feet in front, and close our eyes. And can focus in on the breath. Can know when it's coming in and know when it's going out. If we breathe in a long breath, can just know I'm breathing in a long breath. And if we breathe in a short breath, can just know I'm breathing in a short breath. And can focus in on the breath at the tip of the nose. And if notice any patterns of tension or tightness around the nose, around the face, can just let those relax. And can relax any patterns of tightness around the cheeks, around the chin. And can focus in on the breath. Can watch the breath at the tip of the nose. And when watching the breath at the tip of the nose, can be good to try to make mindfulness as continuous as possible. Being aware all the way through the in-breath. As the in-breath turns to the out-breath. All the way through the out-breath. And as the out-breath turns back to the in-breath again. Trying to make mindfulness as continuous as possible. And if the mind wanders off to the past or the future, you can just bring it back to the present moment, to the breath. and can open our eyes and do a short Awada for the internet. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. So I hope that everybody's having a great day wherever it might be, and actually headed out on a short trip to, well, I guess not short, but a trip to the Kandy area, and then afterwards we're planning to go to Nuwara area. A gentleman kindly drove us here, so I'm at a different monastery right now called the Bouyana Aranya Monastery. And it's been very nice to be here. There's a really nice, I guess you could say, vibe in the air, really nice environment in the air. And there is this kind of feeling that a person gets around certain places that are good, certain places that are nice, certain places that are auspicious. So in the Thai forest tradition, in the early days, they would wander from place to place, and they would look for places in the forest to meditate where their meditation went well. And there would be this assumption that there were certain places, certain spots where one could meditate, physical locations, where it was conducive to meditation. And it wasn't always where people think. It's kind of, there was this one place where I think it was a small, like a kuti or so on a hill, and it was surrounded by fields, but it was said that everybody who went there, their meditation progressed quite quickly. It seemed to, well, not everybody maybe, but generally, and people's meditation progressed quite quickly in that place, progressed well in that place. And so there is this kind of feeling that people get about certain places. So one of the highest blessings in the Mangala Sutta is living in suitable places. This could be like a suitable climate, places where there's suitable friends, and also places where one's meditation progresses well. So it can also be good in one's meditation practice when one's meditating to get a feeling for how does an environment feel, how does a place feel, how does a room feel, how does a forest feel. And there's certain places that might just feel conducive for one to meditate. When one goes there, one sits down to meditate, one's meditation goes well. And then when one finds these places, to go back to them frequently, to frequent these places, make it a habit to sit there, to meditate there, to practice there for the sake of meditating in one of these auspicious places, in a suitable place where one's meditation goes well. So the neat thing about this kind of feeling that one gets is that it's not necessarily a permanent thing. It can be, people can speculate on where these feelings come from, why some places feel better than others. Some might say it's the presence of devas. Some might say there were good practitioners there in the past. Some might say it's some kind of just energy in the place itself. And whatever the reasons, one can learn to feel this. So the interesting thing is that these energies can change depending on what a place is used for. I remember I used to live, when I first started Buddhism, I Googled Buddhism Toronto, and a Zen Buddhist temple came up. And the Zen teacher there was famous for finding, well, not famous, but his specialty was to find these very derelict buildings and renovate them and turn them into temples. And this was because there wasn't much money for Buddhism in Canada at the time, not many devotees, so basically he had to find a way to build temples. So I remember when I first came, it was the early 2000s, and he found this very dilapidated Ukrainian community center, and they had a kind of associated bank there. And after the building had become dilapidated, they started to use it for what they call raves, which are these kind of very hedonistic dance parties that they used to have when I was young. I don't know if they still have them anymore. And people are not up to the best of things in these dance parties. So when we went to this place, the building itself was kind of decrepit, and it had been used for all these bad purposes. The vibe in that place wasn't so good. It was kind of a strange vibe, kind of. But he went there, and one of the first things he did, he went and searched the place out, and he found a room and decided that would be the meditation hall. They called it a sangbang, and they did chanting to kind of inaugurate the temple. And so then, gradually the temple was renovated. He moved in, other people moved in and started using it exclusively, basically for religious works and fundraising things for religious works. And towards the end, after 4 or 5 years, I remember I was there once, and somebody commented, a friend of mine commented, his friend had come, and the feeling that you got when you walked in off the street was palpable. It was kind of this feeling of it being a good place. It's kind of, and when you left, you felt the difference, the kind of change or the shift in energy from that place to the outside. So this kind of feeling of a place being a good place to be is something that one can affect, or a group of people can affect, with their wholesome intentions, with their right efforts, with their right resolve, with their right practice. So in searching out these places, it isn't always the case that if one can't find a place that just feels right, where, say, it's a really good feeling, one's meditation goes well, then if one chooses a place, sets up a shrine there, say, and uses that place exclusively for meditation, uses that place, that space, exclusively for good things, and that can change the feeling in that room, can change the vibe in that room, or that place, or that patch of forest, and make it a good place to meditate, make it a good place to practice. So when I went to visit India, the Buddha's hometown is called Kapilavatthu, and heard this story about how it got the name Kapilavatthu. It was because there was, oftentimes in India apparently, there's some towns or cities named after sages. And some people trace their lineage back from ancient rishis or sages. And so there was this sage named Kapila in Kapilavatthu. And at that time, Kapilavatthu was like a wood or a big forest. And he lived there, and he would have this practice of like looking up at the sky, I think, and spreading metta or goodwill, and he would maybe do that in the different directions, like actually physically turn his body. And that was his basic practice for life. And so they said that that's what made that an auspicious place for the Buddha to be born. So in searching out these places and looking for good places to meditate, one has to find this balance between them. One has to find the balance between finding a place that's already good, finding a place where one's meditation goes well, and also knowing that what one does in that place, one's intentions in that place, one's practice in that place, contribute to there either being a good energy or a bad energy, contribute to it continuing to be a good place to practice, making it a better place to practice, or possibly declining it depending on what it's used for. So looking for these auspicious places, sometimes one can find them. And if one can't find them, one can make them. One can look for places that are good, where one's mind settles down easily. One can make places that are good, where one's mind settles down easily. Places where it's easy to practice the Buddha's teachings, places where it's good to get results from them, and places where it's good to move forward on the path to Nibbana. Okay, so leave that for reflection, and hope that everybody has a great day wherever it might be, and wishing all the blessings of Dhamma practice. Pati Pati Saranai.